I'm about 100 yards from my future wife. I really do hope that she is the woman that I prayed for. But I'm afraid that she could possibly be unattractive. I have to have that initial attraction. That's important for me.
So this man said that one of the most important things for him in a relationship is physical attraction, and then he went on a reality TV show and got married to a stranger. And then it turns out he's not attracted to his wife. What do you know? And instead of being honest with her, he decides to drag her through all his own personal crap for the entire season. The only explanation I've been able to come up with is he was doing some sort of toxic relationship speed run. And I gotta say, if that's what he was going for, he did a flawless job. It was all there. The manipulation, the self-pity, the unaccountability. His wife, Paige, came to this show for the experts to set her up with her true love, and they're like, the best I can do is toxic boyfriend starter pack.
Chris, meet for the very first time, Paige.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Chris, Paige's family and friends would like you to know a few things about Paige. Paige is Paige.
Huh, well that tells us a lot.
She is a risk taker, and so far, it's paid off.
He's like, cool, something I can ruin.
Paige, there are some things that Chris's family and friends want you to know about him. He's well on his way to building an empire.
All right, right away, you'll notice there's going to be a lot of empire talk. You know, he's like obsessed with building an empire. And of course, when asked about it, it's always super vague. I don't know what the hell he does. It's like, I'm an empire guy. I'm in the business of empires. I build them. Take it easy, Darth Vader. That usually just means they traded an NFT a couple years ago or something and then like lost $150 in crypto. And then they changed their Instagram bio to entrepreneur.
Chris likes nice things, which means tailored suits.
Okay.
Name brand shoes.
Non-fungible tokens.
Clothing. Luxury car. You get the point.
Right.
But also, he wants to make sure that you don't just like him for these things, even though they're one of the first things he mentions when it comes to his personality. When they introduced Chris, he said that he was tired of dating women that only cared about his money, but then that's like all he talks about, and it's the first thing that he goes to.
I was like, does he even think I'm attracted?
Oh, you look beautiful. Like, the dress is fire, yo.
You like it?
Yeah, swag. She's beautiful.
Oh no, did he just say swag? I must say, that dress is simply fire. If you could like measure that dress in terms of like quantifiable heat, then I think it would be very high up on that chart.
You know what's crazy?
What?
Your infinity sign. I actually have one. You
tattoo?
can't see it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes.
What's an infinity stone? Isn't that Thanos thing? Yeah, that big purple guy that collects the fruity pebbles. You got a tattoo of that guy? That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's not what I'm talking about at all.
So I'm an entrepreneur, so.
You're an entrepreneur. What do you do?
Entrepreneurial things.
I'm the youngest black franchise owner of a particular brand in Atlanta, and I should be closing on my first house next week. So I flip properties now. Yeah.
Now, normally I would say great, that's good for him, but as you will see, this man is constantly lying about things. You might think that in this video I'm being a little bit harsh on this guy. You know what? So far he doesn't seem so bad. What's the big deal? Oh, just wait. In this next part, he talks about a tattoo that he has, and this really is the first sign that everything is going to be a total disaster.
Yo, it's a cross with a crown, King Jesus.
Let me see. That's dope. That looks fresh.
It is fresh.
When did you get it?
A couple days ago.
Oh. Why did you get that? What inspired you to get it?
So, to be perfectly honest with you,
Uh-oh.
last year, me and my ex, we got our names tatted on us.
What do the experts have to say about this? Oh, that's our bad. Sorry about that. We thought you wanted somebody that had a tattoo of their ex-fiance's name. The funniest part is the fact that he ran out and got it covered up like the day before the wedding. Like, oh shit, I'm getting married tomorrow. I gotta go cover up that tattoo.
And I never had a chance to get it covered up. And I was like, I gotta do it now. So I had to do that.
What do you mean you never had a chance to do it? You chose to wait until right before the wedding, and you chose to be on this show to begin with.
Do you like dogs?
What kind of dog you have?
He's a Morkie. He's small.
Interesting.
Why?
Yeah, my ex had dogs. So.
Oh.
Yeah, my ex was great. Terrific person. You'll meet her someday, don't worry. But I understand it's going to make you uncomfortable to talk about this too much, so I will change the subject. I apologize. Let's talk empires.
My ex had a Yorkie. I'm like, is she your wife?
Well, she would have been my wife, but she didn't want to build an empire with me.
I was engaged.
Really?
Yeah, my last relationship was a few months ago, to be perfectly honest with you.
So already by this point, it should be pretty obvious that this guy is in no shape to be getting married right now, let alone to be getting married to a stranger.
I just don't really feel connected. I just wish he was like looking at me a little bit more, but I'm just hoping that this is nerves and that, you know, we can, you know, open up.
Look at this guy. He's so sad and uncomfortable. He looks like he's playing a game where if you look down, bad things will happen. He doesn't look happy to be there at all, and the way he talks to her gets more and more rude, and it's clear that he just doesn't really care about any of this and doesn't want to put any effort in.
So tell me the whole like engagement thing. You were just engaged a couple months ago. What happened?
I didn't trust her, and she didn't trust me.
Really?
When I felt like I didn't have her undivided attention, I did have my friendships, you know what I'm saying? Because I felt like I was missing companionship.
What? So he didn't have his ex's undivided attention? That's part of why he broke up with her? That doesn't sound like a good sign. And then he says he was missing companionship, so he had a lot of friendships, which makes me think that they weren't just friendships. You'll notice as time goes on that Chris has no filter and never takes into account how somebody else is going to think or feel when he says something.
I don't have any baggage, I don't have no kids or nothing.
That is hilarious.
You know, I am gonna be honest with you about my shortcomings. Tell you what my weaknesses are. My ego used to be bad, but I don't really have a big ego.
Sure.
I try to learn from each relationship stuff, so.
There are certain times where Chris does know how to say the right things and eases the tension just enough to keep her around. But this dude saying that he doesn't have baggage is the funniest thing ever because his entire personality is his baggage. Maybe he doesn't have baggage because he is the baggage. He's like a baggage monster, you know, like Bilbo Baggage.
Are you a virgin?
No. What made you think that?
No, I was just asking. I don't know.
As you can see, this man is very romantic. He knows how to be quite smooth. You know, all they've really talked about so far is just his personal crap and then like what she does for a living, and that's about it. He hasn't asked anything about her personality or her interests.
Do you have a high sex drive?
I'm not gonna answer that question.
You can't. I've answered every question you've asked.
Yeah, well, her questions were normal, not insane. Now, maybe he thinks just because they're actually married, he can just jump right into asking very personal questions, where I think that you should actually build a relationship and a connection first. And it's especially off-putting how cold and inconsiderate he is in this situation. Not only are the questions wildly inappropriate, but he doesn't even seem to realize how she could be uncomfortable by it.
Are you on contraception?
No.
What?
God damn it, these experts don't get anything right. I ask for somebody who's on contraception and somebody who will watch Empire Strikes Back with me. Those are my two demands.
This evening, I'm a proud father.
All right, settle down.
You know, I was sitting in my seat and I began to think about my son.
He didn't even say anything yet. Why is he laughing?
He was 9 years old. Him and his brother Corey, they started their own first business.
You could almost say their first empire, if you will. Now, in this next part, Chris's dad sits down to talk to Paige, and it starts to make sense why Chris is the way he is. Not only is Chris asking some out-of-pocket questions, but his dad sits down and starts to ask her about their intimacy and how much she's going to satisfy him.
She's amazing. She's very articulate. She's very accomplished. So two worlds will come together, and Chris and her will build an empire.
Oh my God, take it easy. They're on a reality TV show. They're not building anything.
Working the hours that he worked. When he comes home, he's exhausted.
Right.
He wants the touch of his wife. He wants to be intimate with his wife.
What the hell is he talking about? So as you can see, this man is clearly insane. Just putting aside how weird and creepy it is for him to comment on this, if they're both working, then what's the difference? You know, if they're both going out and working hard and then coming home, why is it her responsibility to make him relaxed or all this bullshit?
When he comes home, he's exhausted.
When he comes home, after a long day of empiring, he's exhausted, you know, and he needs his wife's touch. The question is, are you gonna touch my son?
And he don't want that to be once a month, but he wants that to be once you understand and grow together. He wants it to be pretty consistent, you know? I mean, because after you work and you give out, you want to receive back.
All right, there's way too much to even unpack in this situation. I could sit here and talk about how deranged this is for like 10 minutes. All I can think is she's working too. She has a job, so she's also giving. What is really the difference here? Is it because he makes more, if that's even true? I think this guy has a really messed up view of what intimacy in a marriage is supposed to look like. He's not talking about it like it's a mutual thing that two people decide to do because they love each other. He's essentially saying that it's the wife's responsibility to give, and since the husband gives in other ways by working, in this instance, he is the receiver and he's the one who takes. It's not like a mutual thing they both do. In this next part, Chris talks to all of Paige's bridesmaids, and it goes as poorly as you would expect.
So Paige is different from the type of women that I'm used to. You know
So, like, what are the type of women you used to?
the opposite of Paige. Like the real prissy girls, pretty girls, like you fronting everything, you paying for everything type thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
gotcha.
so you've never dated someone that's like at your level, like.
No. He's only dated people on his level. Don't level him up right here. He doesn't deserve to be leveled up. He's still stuck in the undead asylum. Again, you'll notice him complaining about his past relationships, saying that the women were shallow or superficial or something like that, and that they were only interested in his money. But then that's the first thing you say in your wedding vows, bro. Like, what do you expect? You know, that makes you seem pretty materialistic, which is fine if that's what you want to be, but that means you're probably going to gravitate towards those kinds of relationships, whether you realize it or not.
I enjoyed our conversation the first time after we said I do. Paige, she is probably the woman that I need, but not the woman that I wanted.
Wanted versus needed, like, explain that to us.
I think on paper, like, it's there, but marriage is more than just careers and money, you know what I'm saying?
Trust me, I know that marriage is a lot more than careers and money. There's also sex. So at this point, it starts to become more clear that he doesn't really like Paige and isn't attracted to her, which it seems kind of odd. I don't know why he tries to act like he's out of her league. At one point, he says that he's not sure if he's decided he's going to sleep with her or not, as if it's just a given that she wants to, and he hasn't considered her desire at all in the situation.
I'm not 100% attracted to her. Like, when I saw her initially, it was like, this is different from what I'm used to. But it doesn't mean that that's just because that's what I'm not used to.
He's saying that as soon as he saw her, he's like, oh shit, this is not what I'm used to. What is that supposed to mean? It seems like he's saying that he's used to women that are more attractive, and it's insane because the show basically set him up with someone who is successful, mature, and beautiful, and he's like, this sucks.
Now, I think that she's beautiful in her own way. I think that she's beautiful in her own way.
Why do you have to add the in her own way part? Like, that doesn't... Come on, dude. Here's where things start to get really bizarre. So they go back to their room, and they actually have a pretty good night together. It seems like for the most part, they're getting along. Then it is revealed the next morning that they did indeed consummate the marriage multiple times. According to Paige, they both woke up around 8:30 or 9, and Chris went to get breakfast for both of them and then disappeared for like 3 hours, and she didn't know where he went. She eventually found him just wandering the halls of the hotel, and then he informed her that he had a panic attack and had to just get away.
How are you doing?
A little confused.
What are you confused about?
We just went MIA.
So,
He's also one of those people that's going to constantly pretend to not understand what's going on. Like, oh, what are you confused about? I don't know, dude, you just disappeared for 3 hours?
on the way down to get menus, had a panic attack.
Look at his nickname, Blessed. Is that how you say it? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce the $sign. So yeah, he had a panic attack while he was going to get the breakfast menus, and wait till you hear his reason for the panic attack.
I'm still not all the way good.
So what is exactly troubling you, I guess?
So to be perfectly honest with you, like, I think that on paper, like, we are like you're everything that I need. But like, I don't think that the attraction is fully there yet for me, to be perfectly honest.
Now keep in mind that they have already been intimate multiple times, and then he decides to tell her this the next day. But yeah, we're supposed to sit around and feel bad for Chris because he had a panic attack about not being that attracted to her. At no point does he ever consider how this might make her feel.
That's what has had me panicking, like what the you know?
Dude, I can't hear anything. Enough with the vocal fry.
If he had that conversation with me last night, before we even touch, kiss, whatever,
I would have been at peace with that. I am so confused. I've never been with a man who wants to have sex multiple times that didn't desire me or didn't find me attractive.
This is hopefully the time where you realize, oh, you were not too tough on this guy at all. If anything, you've been taking it easy on this guy. Like she said, it would have been one thing if he was honest with her from the start. I don't think anybody can necessarily blame somebody for not being attracted to somebody if they can't control it. At the same time, you're signing up to get married to a stranger, so it's a given that you're going to have to accept some flaws or some unexpected things. But she is the one who has been dealt the shit hand in this situation, and he does not seem to understand that at all. And I know looks are subjective, but man, I really don't understand this. I feel like he is the one that's reaching. So on this show, it's normal for them to have breakfast with their spouse's family the next morning. And at this breakfast, Paige tells them that she's confused by the mixed messages and the fact that they were intimate, and then he said he wasn't attracted to her. Now, they do see it from her point of view a little bit, but obviously are also pretty quick to defend Chris. And of course, then, what do you know? Chris uses this as an excuse to get upset with her for revealing their personal details or whatever.
Why are you crying?
So she just walks in and she sees him with his head down pretending to cry, and she's like, ugh, again with this shit? Really? It's been like a day. Come on. Can we just play a board game or something and get to know each other as husband and wife? What is all this? All this nonsense about panic attacks and breakfast menus and empires? I'm gonna lose it here. How do you think all the stormtroopers would act if Darth Vader was sitting around crying, huh?
So what bothered me the most was I ain't never talked about my sex life as an adult with my parents. It was weird.
Dude, your dad sat down with her and talked about it. That was the weirdest shit ever. If Chris wasn't so horrible up until now, I could kind of see the point where you shouldn't talk about these kinds of details with your family, but this is already a very unusual situation, and I can imagine she would feel kind of helpless and want to talk to your family about it.
With all due respect, like, I did not want to have sex coming into yesterday, but I wanted to feel a closeness to my wife. Maybe, you know, I would generate some type of attraction.
Yeah, that's really nice. Now she has to hear that he didn't even want to do it to begin with. So the whole thing was he just regrets the whole thing, I guess. Him saying that he wanted to feel closeness with his wife or build some kind of attraction, that's all just an excuse. That's not the case at all. Anyway, we have come to the end of this video, but there is so much more that happens with these two. Before I go, I just want to give a quick reminder to check out the podcast. It's posted every Thursday on Spotify and Apple. And part 2 of Louise and Jose is over on Patreon. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I will see you next time.
I think that on paper, like, we are like you're everything that I need, but like